It's Lynn Bardowski, founder at Million Dollar Party Girl, with episode 20 of Million Dollar Team, where I interview top leaders in our industry and have them share their story. It's all about ordinary women achieving extraordinary success, so you can too. Today, I'm joined with Kiersten Ray-Kuhn over here. Hey, Kiersten, you were doing cancer research, correct?
Yes, I was.
Yes, which perfect for your psychology degree. You weren't actually out, probably really interacting with people.
Right. Yeah, I sat in an office all by myself, surrounded by four walls. Just white walls, and I was on the phone a lot, and just calling and checking in on patients, and setting up appointments. So yeah, it was a very independent job, kind of much like direct sales, and I just worked independently and kind of set my own hours as well, which actually was pretty nice at that time.
And you're able to do that. And you're also a mom.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I have three boys. At that time, I only had two. So I did want to have that third child, and I did want to be able to stay home with him. So that's kind of why I started looking into direct sales. So I didn't have to, work that full-time job and put them in daycare, because it breaks your heart having to send them and miss out on all their activities.
So tell us what happened. Did you get invited to a party? You obviously had started thinking about, you wanted to work from home. What was the catalyst that got you started?
Well, actually, we had gone, my husband and I and a few other couples, we went to a winery. And of course, it was fun, tasting the wine and learning about the wines. But, I looked around the room and, saw people just having so much fun with their friends and just that fellowship. And I thought, there's got to be someone, doing this as direct sales. So I came home and I Googled, and I just Googled home wine tasting parties, and boom. Here I am.
That led you to Traveling Vineyard. Mm-hmm. And what did your startup look like? Did you launch with a grand opening party? How did you get the word out?
Well, my first, I can still actually remember standing in my kitchen and doing my first tasting, I invited, some friends and some family, which we didn't have a whole lot of family here at the time. We still don't. And then my husband invited some of his coworkers. And, it went okay. It probably wasn't as successful. And I know it wasn't as successful as, tastings are now. That just kind of comes with time and confidence and practice, as with any, business that you're doing. But I did that. And then I ended up having to do a lot of vendor shows to try to get more bookings and kind of spread the word. I was actually the first one, the way the wine industry is, the laws, some states we can't ship to. And I actually ended up being, when I joined, the first one in the state of Missouri, because the laws had changed, and then we were able to get in with the Traveling Vineyard. So I didn't have anyone to go watch and learn how to do it, not locally. So I kind of had to do kind of trial by fire and just learn by making a lot of mistakes and just keep going.
You figured it out.
Yeah,
right.
Figure it out, right?
Don't wait for somebody to come and tell you all the answers. And I love that you took action to get out of your warm market very quickly, because, you're proof that you don't need to know everything, and you don't need to wait to start building and growing.
Back when I started, I had to do a lot of word of mouth, and I would ask other direct sellers that I knew. Maybe I saw them doing events, and I would ask them, was it a good event? Was there a lot of people coming through? Did you get a lot of leads? And now you can go on Facebook and just Google search too. Mm-hmm. But I really think the best thing to do is ask your fellow direct sellers, if you see them participating, is it an event that's, well advertised? Yeah. Have they been doing it for a few years? Things like that, generally it's going to be a good turnout. And you want to make sure you're doing the research on things like that. I've just always had that drive. And I really believe direct sales changes lives, whether it's $100 a month, that's people are adding to their budget, that can make a huge difference. Or if it's $5,000, obviously that's going to make a huge difference, but it's not always about the money. Sometimes it's that independence it gives. It's, you know, that wife that feels like, oh my gosh, I can actually contribute, you know, money and take a little bit of stress off my husband, or the single mom, in the confidence, or being able to now speak in front of people, the personal growth and learning. There's so much more in changing people's lives and making a difference. It's just so much more about the money, and being able to touch people's lives like that and make a difference, and people saying how their lives are changed, you know, just because of the business, or, you know, something I helped them with. That's huge for me.
What advice do you have now for new consultants that are joining your team to help them succeed? It's obviously a whole different business than it was, you know, in 2003. We've come a long way, baby.
I sure have. You know, the biggest advice I have is really to ask questions. You know, sometimes you have people that, you know, they're like, oh, I don't want to bother you. You're so busy. And what I have seen over the years, the people that are the most successful are the people that ask questions. You know, you are responsible for your own success. You know, you're in business by yourself, but you don't have to do it alone. And, you know, going along with asking those questions is get out of your comfort zone, and don't just ask your upline those questions. Ask other people in your, not within just your team, but ask people in your entire company that you see having the success you want, whether it's you want to have sales that they have, or the team and the promotions and earning the trips. Ask them, reach out to them and ask, hey, do you have any advice for me on earning the trips? Or what's your top tip for, you know, getting those $5,000 sales a month, whatever it may be, because different teams sometimes have, you know, strengths that they have. And when you reach out to another team, you're going to learn maybe a different, you know, training tool or tip that you weren't aware of. And that's going to help increase, you know, your confidence and everything you're doing in the business. It's going to make you a better consultant. And if you're a leader, it's going to make you a better leader, you know. So, you know, don't be afraid to ask those questions. It doesn't mean you're weak.
Yes.
You know, I still ask questions. You know, all leaders, you should still keep trying to learn right along with your consultants.
And I know that you also said for new consultants that you recommend they schedule as many events as they can in their first 60 days. So why do you think that's so important, those first 60 days?
Well, if you don't get those events scheduled and you keep waiting, that fear is going to take over. And you're going to start thinking, you know, I don't know enough. And what if someone asks me a question I don't know? And that's going to take over, and you're probably never going to start. But if you get all those events scheduled, you're going to gain more confidence. It's just kind of a law of averages. Your sales are going to go up, because the more you do something, the better you're going to get at it. You know, but think about sports. They don't just go out one day and just start winning the Super Bowl. They practice, right? Same thing with sales. You have to practice, and you're going to see it's not that hard. You know, just get out there and do it, and you're going to see, you know, good results the more you do.
And so many times we don't know what we don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the new excited consultant many times that is attracting more people just because of their excitement. You don't need the knowledge. It's the excitement that is what's going to be contagious and want people to be a part of what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. What is the best thing you can say to someone that is considering becoming a consultant but is hesitant? So this is about building your team, sponsoring new consultants. How do you start the conversation?
Well, hopefully you're actually on the phone with them, because it's usually a little easier. But I would try to get down to why they're hesitant. You know, is it a fear that they don't know enough about your product? Or is it a fear of failure? Are they worried they're not going to make enough money? But you've got to find out what it is they're hesitant about. But usually it's a confidence thing, generally. So if it is confidence, whatever your company's training is, or if she's local to you, you could, you know, invite her to come with you to one of your parties and see kind of how easy it is. Or, you know, if she's further away from you, which happens a lot with our company, you can, you know, show her one of your videos of what an event looks like, things like that. But the biggest thing is find out what the hesitation is really about, and then show her how you can overcome it with training tools or, you know, the support.
So as leaders are building, what do you think the biggest mistake is that leaders make?
I would have to say, probably kind of forgetting, maybe if you've been doing it a long time, but maybe forgetting what it's like to be new. You forget how overwhelming it can be, that fear, maybe, the fear of what if I don't, make enough money, and then my husband's going to be mad at me. And he's going to be like, why did you do this? And all the things that new consultants, worry about. So you've got to put yourself in their shoes and just remember what it's like, and maybe even go back and do the training again if you've been doing it a while. You just have to remember where you came from and what it's like, and be grateful to your team and know that you're there because of them. I mean, you still work hard as a leader, don't get me wrong, but you really are there because of your team. Mm-hmm. And you have to appreciate that and recognize them, and just be grateful for the people that are on your team.
Where can everybody find you? On your Facebook page, on Instagram, anywhere else that they need to connect with you?
Sure. On Instagram, the handle is Mama Needs Wine, and that's Mama, M-A-M-A, needs wine, X for times 3, because the moms need wine, right? And Facebook, my business page is, of course, facebook.com/wine4a-living, spelled out the words.
How do you start your day? When you wake up in the morning, how do you get focused? Are there specific activities? Tell us more about that.
Well, usually after I get my youngest ready for school, then I'm a checklist person. I have a to-do list. I love the feeling of checking things off. But I make sure I limit my to-do list with like 3 to 5 things a day. But I check my to-do list and compare it with my calendar of different calls and, appointments that I have to do. But yeah, I start off with that and kind of plan, organize, and prioritize, and put times on them, and to see what I need to do that day. What's, the most important.
And so how do you prioritize? What would be a top level, what would make it on that list for you?
Well, it depends on the week and kind of the day. So, like certain weeks of the month, like let's say first week of the month, we do a lot of recognition for the team. Whether it's a PowerPoint slide or, Facebook shout outs or congrats cards, things like that. And then let's say the third week of the month, that's when we do our team call. So there'll be things kind of prepping for the team call, or, a training that we have for the elite leadership. So it's things like that. It depends on what's going on in the calendar, what really has to be done that day, and what can be done like later that week.
And then just move it to the next list.
Something can be, so then it'll be like, I use Alexa a lot, my to-do list on Alexa, because I love seeing it disappear. I used to use paper lists because I do love to kind of, check through things. I just feel, and then I would actually write down things I already did just so I could feel like I accomplished more. A lot of times you do finish up more things that are on your to-do list.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Kiersten, to share your story. It was so great learning more about you. Congratulations. Bye, everyone.